gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Live SEO Support with your two favorite SEOs and YouTube personalities slash gurus in the world. I am Christopher Gegis, and to my right, we have Nicholas Esquire Altamore the third. How you doing today, Nick?
Well, hello. I'm doing pretty well. It's a new year. It's a new shiny new us, and it's a shiny new live stream with all your questions ready to be answered. So, yeah, we're doing well.
Cool. Yeah, what have you been up to? How's your holidays and all that been? Guess we'll small talk it here for a minute, just to let stuff kind of populate since we just jumped right in without really giving a countdown or anything.
Yeah, it was fun. It was low key and nice. Nothing too crazy, really. So yeah, it was fine holidays.
How much
Fine
SEO
holidays.
did you do over the holidays?
I did a lot of accounting for SEO business, but SEO itself I didn't do too much of.
How many times did you check your rankings over the holidays?
Not as much as I checked crypto dumps, but I know I was in SE ranking at least two times in the
Oh,
last week. Yeah.
more than me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How were your holidays? Tell us about yours.
They're all right, just family stuff. Um, it's nice being here for the holidays and everything. I always feel, I think some other people feel this way too, but I feel like worn out by the holiday gauntlet from like
Dude.
Thanksgiving through New Year's. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just ready for it to be over by the time it's over with.
Yeah, I can understand that.
How's Caspian doing?
He's doing good. I don't know if you can hear him in the background. Oh, say hey. Oh, hey. Anyhow, he's saying hello to everybody out there. There you go. Everybody out there in SEO Roundtable watching now. Yeah, yeah, he's doing good. He's watching his favorite show. So apologize if you can hear some of that children's show in the background, but I'm on dad duty, so I gotta
It's a good thing he's
juggle a
cute.
little bit.
It's a good thing he's cute, or I would not tolerate it.
Yeah, cute like me.
All right. Hey, what's going on? I can't read your name because it's in Arabic, but how you doing? I don't know if that's Arabic actually. Um, all right, yeah, let's go ahead and we'll just start getting into some of the questions we've got in our backlog. I think today's show is probably going to be a bit slow since we haven't been doing shows in a while. It seems like when we don't do shows for a while, the turnout's kind of lower, so we get less questions live. But hey, we've got some questions in the backlog we can get to, and if you
Plus,
are
I mean, it's only the 5th, so I'm sure a lot of people are still working on their New Year's hangovers.
five 5 days later.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, some of our people I know really like to rock out,
That would be some,
respect.
yeah, pretty epic.
Hopefully they're in bed, drinking chicken soup, watching the show right now, getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, it's
Anyhow,
hard to get
sorry.
back into the swing of things, but
Yeah.
we're doing it. We're doing it live.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and start getting into it. Um,
Uh,
all right, looks like we got a question on YouTube from Dennis. Go ahead and get to this one first.
um,
All right, on my website, I got a lot of Indian, so .in, no follow backlinks. I do the SEO myself, and I am not doing any Fiverr stuff, obviously. Do these links hurt my rankings? I'm not sure what to do. Um, so it sounds like you're just getting some kind of spam. I'm assuming they're probably going to be blog comments since they're not Indian links. I don't know what they might not be blog comments.
no.
Hey Nick, can you mute your thing? We got Caspian back there rocking out. Um, Yeah, it's a Indian no follow backlinks. I'm just assuming they're blog comments. It could be something else. I'm just not really sure. What else? Were you about to say something, Nick? What do you think it could be? Not really sure. Um,
No, go ahead. I was just saying it's not Blogspot.
yeah, obviously not like any of the normal Web 2.0 since they're .in. But yeah, it just sounds like you're getting some spam. Our answer for this is usually always the same. Uh, we don't really worry about it until we start seeing very definitive negative effects. And what I mean by that is if your traffic and your rankings are really going down in a big way. I'm not talking about the normal fluctuations because rankings and traffic can fluctuate day to day, week to week, month to month even. Um, but if it starts getting to the point where it's like, oh my God, does my site have a penalty? And you're really, you look at the graph and it's just doing one of these going straight down. And at that point, um, I would begin to worry about it. And but before you get to that point, 'cause I'm assuming you're not at that point, because most of the time people are not at that point. They kind of freak out a little bit before it gets to that point. Um, what you should do is just do the stuff that you should be doing anyways, which is to make sure you're getting healthy links being built to your site. Uh, you know, like you said, no, I'm not saying all Fiverr stuff is bad, but just quality backlinks, links from real websites that actually have some kind of purpose to them, that are also healthy. You're doing stuff like pillow linking every now and then. You're practicing link diversity, anchor diversity, all that stuff. And you're taking care of your website. You're taking care of your on-page SEO, your technical SEO. You're adding content to your website over time. You're updating your content to make it better, or just adding it to make it cover additional topics, stuff like that. These are all things that healthy websites do. And so by doing this kind of stuff, by building healthy links with natural anchor text and stuff, by building a variety of types of backlinks, by taking care of your website and all of that, Google will usually look at the spam stuff that you're getting now and just say, okay, that doesn't matter. Like, look at this website; they're doing all this great stuff, and then they've got some of this crap going on coming from these Indian blog comments or whatever, and they'll just ignore it. And even if you're not doing all that good stuff, Google has gotten pretty good at ignoring the spam. It's not to say that you want to completely not do the good stuff. Just the spam could have. I felt like it was a bigger deal way back when rather than now. It's not something I really worry about too much now at all. We get sites that get spammed all the time. Anyone that has a site ranking and anywhere in the page one, page two, whatever, you just start getting spammed. And some niches are worse than others. If you're getting like Indian blog comment spam, that actually sounds to me like it actually might be kind of targeted, rather than the normal stuff that kind of comes naturally. It might not be, but it could be. Got anything to add, Nick?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's hard to say whether it's spam or not. I mean, I would probably agree because this guy's talking about lots of backlinks. However, in my history in SEO, I've had a lot of people who come and like they're freaking out, and it's like, I've got all these foreign anchors and these foreign websites are linking to me, blah blah, and it's a handful of links, and they're just in Ahrefs and kind of overblown. So just for the sake of if there's anybody in here watching who's maybe not getting hundreds of these links, right? Or at least like tens of these links, just because you're getting a foreign link, it's not necessarily spam, or it's not going to be bad for you. I mean, there's plenty of reasons why a foreign website might link to a website in a different geographic location, right? Expats live everywhere. There's different products that, are used worldwide, etc. So just in case, we're talking about, a random Indian blog or a comment like within a blog, if it's a small percentage of your backlink profile, don't worry about it too much. But yeah, I would agree based on this question, like everything that you said is the way to go with things.
Cool. All right. Yeah, hopefully that helped you out, Dennis. And yeah, we'll move on. Let's see. I've got a bunch of questions rolling in. I was thinking today's show is going to be it's going to be a slow one, but just judging by
Yeah,
the
that's what
amount of
I thought.
questions that are rolling in, I guess not.
Maybe everybody's working on their New Year's resolution. I will be a good SEO this year.
I will watch Nick and Chris every day,
Yeah,
or
every
every
day they're
Wednesday,
on.
whatever.
That'll make you a good SEO.
All right. Well, maybe. Um, you know, there's just there's just some people you can
You got to put stuff into action. Yeah.
can lead a horse to water, but
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Next up, let's see. This is from AH or Okay. My website has 99% do follow backlinks. Is time to freak out and wait for the Google Penguin? Um, I mean, it depends why your site has so 99% do follow. Um,
Well, I mean, don't worry about it. Let me ask you this. Is your site responding negatively in the SERPs or is it okay? First, start with that. Um, and then, if you've got 99% do follow backlinks, there's probably some other issues going on with your backlink profile, would be my guess. But definitely, it's something that you'd want to start remedying as soon as possible. Get it down. A lot of times this is just going to be doing solid pillowing in order to up your no follow percentages. Um, so, like for us, what Chris, I'm guessing, is about to pull up, diversity links or pillow links would work.
yeah, so these are some of the things that we sell. You don't have to buy these, but I can also just give you some ideas of some different kinds of no-follow links you can build. But yeah, we sell so pillow links. It comes with a pack of 30. Yep, 30. And here you go. So stuff like citations, niche directories, forum profiles, social profiles, Web 2.0s. Social signals aren't going to count towards your link count, but those are in there too. And then diversity links just for some more ideas. We have Q&A links, it's stuff like Quora, stuff like that. Audio links, video links, video like YouTube. Slideshow links. Again, we got more Web 2.0s. And yeah, like Nick said, I wouldn't necessarily freak out about it. But, and there's more types of links than just this. Like we were talking about in the previous question, the guy was getting
Blog
some
comments are usually.
yeah, blog comments. We talked about forum profiles, but you could also do forum links, links from the content in forums.
Yeah.
And yeah, all this stuff can add to your no follow link count. And yeah, the thing is it's not natural, as you already know, it's not natural for a site to have 99% do follow links. But like Nick was saying, unless your ranking's starting to tank, I wouldn't freak out about it. I would just start basically fixing it. Do some pillowing. Doesn't really matter what kind of pillowing you do. Just start doing it and do it naturally. Don't try to be don't try to over optimize it, like getting in keyword anchors and stuff like that. Just use some real natural stuff, natural anchors, branded anchors, URL anchors, miscellaneous anchors, all that good stuff. And yeah, try to get those numbers a little bit more natural looking.
I mean, a lot of it's going to depend too on the size of the site you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about a small site with 15 referring domains and 99% of them are do follow. Well, that's a simple remedy. It's just, go out and get a handful of no follow backlinks, right? And then just diversify out from there. But maybe, you've been working on the site for a year and a half, ordering lots of guest posts or something along those lines. You you'll just want to up the amount of no-follow links that you're adding on your monthly campaign to that particular asset. So, like another thing I think is worth talking about is, everybody's always waiting for the most opportune time to freak out in SEO. The longer you stay in SEO and the longer you go through the motions, the more you're going to realize, so long as you've got solid recipes for what you're doing, there's not really a reason to ever freak out. It's more so try and remain as calm and rational about what's going on, as there's always a variable that you can kind of pinpoint, prod at, and then fix. In the years I've been in SEO, unless I was purposefully spamming something out beyond oblivion, then I would never say that there's been a project that I would just completely cut loose unless it just didn't seem like it was profitable. But from a backlinking perspective or gaining rankings in the SERPs perspective, you can typically always kind of reduce exposure to whatever kind of negative aspects happening there.
That's a good point. There's really never anything to freak out about as far as SEO goes. It's a slow moving beast. Everything can be fixed.
Unless maybe you just got your first client and you spammed it with really low end Fiverr, and then manual penalty shows up in Search Console. You were extremely irresponsible. Don't do that. And B, you're gonna have a really hard time.
Yeah, I'll change my comment a little bit. There's nothing to freak out in SEO unless like your site is actually getting hit by either a manual or algorithmic penalty. And you'll know when that's happening because your traffic's going to be way up here in the thousands, whatever your traffic is, and it's just going to start doing this. Then you can start freaking out. And but then again, it's good to remain calm because like Nick was saying, everything just moves so slow. So even if you are freaking out and you're scrambling to do everything as fast as you can, it doesn't even really matter because it's going to take a while for it to get fixed. So it's just, you got to kind of calm yourself down, look at things rationally, and start doing what you think you got to do. It doesn't matter how fast you go. I mean, of course, if it takes like, weeks to do versus, a few days, or if it takes months to do or something like that. But just, move forward. Don't freak out. You'll be fine.
Something else we should probably mention. I don't know. I for me personally, I'd have to look this stat up, but I don't know the exact, favorite ratio of no follow to do follow backlinks. And quite honestly, it's not something I particularly pay attention to. Somebody brought it up the other day when they were looking at one of my sites. They were like, "Oh my gosh, your do follow backlinks are like 70%." And I was like, yeah, I use a lot of backlinks, and typically they're going to be do follow. But at the same time, that website ranks extremely well, and I would say that's probably on average about where my sites lies. I feel like it'd be around the 70 percentile. I'm sure it varies
like
niche to niche, and stuff. But
it also kind of depends on just how much of the random crap your site is getting hit by. That sites always accumulate all the coupon stuff, all the keyword whatevers, all the Web 2.0 spam that sites just start getting for whatever reason. Those will really drive up your your no follows.
Purely based on just my experience and just the feeling I have about it versus hardline data. Unless you're up in that 90+% range, I don't think it's going to be that big a factor to where you'd have to worry about getting a penalty or anything like that. Just because you've accrued a lot of do follow backlinks, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's manipulation or foul play in place either. You can see that when something goes viral and you look through the backlinks profile of that, it's heavily do follow typically because there's a lot of blogging going on behind this thing, and most people don't spend the time following a bunch of stuff. So, or backlinks rather.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Yeah, we're moving over to Facebook now, so we got some over there. Some of my website keywords are getting lots of impressions, but not getting clicks. What to do? Yeah, so that's pretty hard to answer, but I can give you a couple ideas just off the top of my head without really seeing it. First of all, you could be maybe on page 1, but not in the first couple positions. And so, your website, you're showing up and people are seeing it, but they're clicking the top, position 1, 2, 3 instead, the positions that get almost all of the clicks. Another thing could be that your title tag, the blue text that you would click on, maybe your title tag is not any good, or maybe it doesn't match the search intent. Like, for example, if someone is looking for, so someone types in backlinks and they're trying to learn what backlinks are, and they see the result number 1 and it says buy backlinks. Well, hey, I'm not looking to buy backlinks. I'm looking to just learn about backlinks. Basically, your title, A, might not be good. The other ones might be more enticing, or B, it might not match the search intent for whatever SERPs you're showing up on. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can really say about that. If I had to guess, though, I'd say it's probably just because you're probably lower down on the page and they're clicking on the higher ranking stuff rather than yours. You have anything, Nick?
No, that sounds about right. I mean, I don't know if you mentioned, but within the snippet too, maybe work on what the summary is to that particular page or something. Ensure that it's attractive. That's going to increase click-through rate as well. But yeah, outside of that, not really.
Cool. All right, moving on. Pick another one from Facebook. What is your thoughts on the November update? I have a few sites that have flipped rankings to GMB, vice versa. What once was ranking very well, GMB have tanked and organic rankings have skyrocketed. I'm legit stumped. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have not paid attention to the last algo updates at all because all of my stuff was not affected at all. Then again, I'm not in local at all. I don't know if you're the same person that was talking about this in our group before, but there was someone else in our group and on Facebook, SEO Roundtable, talking about the same kind of thing about GMBs, how the GMB rankings were just all over the place and they weren't really sure what was going on.
Yeah, I think I put it up there, didn't I?
Someone I can't remember. There was one guy who was saying he was doing a little testing and he was going to report back and stuff. Can't remember who it was, but yeah, I don't do SEO for any local sites myself at the moment, so it's just not something I'm paying attention to at all. I've been kind of lazy on it. This holiday time of the year, maybe haven't been as up to date on a lot of the SEO stuff as I should be. What even was the November update? Do you remember, Nick?
No, sorry, I'm trying to get Caspian to put his guitar down.
Guitar, huh? Is that a Christmas present?
No, he's had it for a little while. He got a drum set too.
Okay, so
Um,
I'll put this on the
yeah.
screen real quick. So
Okay.
the November update was referred to as the spam update. Um, or that's at least what other people were calling it. And yeah, I don't really know why they even called it the spam update. Uh, from the little that I kind of looked into, I think it was mainly maybe it had to do with all this high amount of spam that pretty much all sites are getting, and they're just doing a better job at trying to ignore what's very obvious, like spammy stuff. Like we talked about on some of the previous questions, Google's got very pretty good at ignoring what they consider spam links. Um, but yeah, I mean, as far as just link building in general goes, if you're doing your own link building, which we obviously do a lot of, that's our specialty. It doesn't seem to have really targeted that at all. So that's why I'm saying it. I just assume it pretty much is only targeting like this very low effort, maybe the auto generated stuff, the Web 2.0 crap, just the very obviously spammy stuff, and trying to figure out how to deal with it properly so it isn't counted for or against whoever's getting hit by it. But yeah, I did also see the GMB stuff as well. I just ultimately can't really give too much of a comment on it.
Yeah, so I mean, like I can't give too much either, as I don't work that much in local. However, I do have some people that I work with on something, and one thing that I did notice was GMB issues, including one that really agitated me, which was finding exact match for specific geographic locations and services. So exact match URL for some very big SERPs was actually taking out the top 3 positions out of the map pack and just replacing it as branded. And so that would be one of the major things that I saw from the November update that actually did affect some of the campaigns that I've worked on over the last few months. And so, quite honestly, what I was talking about when I saw that was, at this point in time, I don't see how there's much you can do to counteract that. However, I also don't see how Google would remain in that position, as it would stand to create heavy monopolies for those, services in those geographic areas. So my opinion about it would be at some point it's going to resolve back to how it was. But it's also been a couple of months and it has not changed. So yeah, definitely some shifts in GMB, and I wish I could tell you a little bit more about research into what has been favorited, etc. But I don't really have any of that info for you, more specific than the things that I just noticed that I just outlined.
I'll try to find something on it and put it in the group. I'll do a little research on it. I think I had seen something before as well, and I'm don't quote me on this, but I think I saw something before as well, how they got because people were really getting into how to basically game the local algorithm to get basically their GMB would show up first on all areas of a city rather than basically like what it was like super close to or whatever. And I think Google has gotten better at basically providing the answer that's actually closest to them.
Yeah,
Um,
because your GMB is not really supposed to respond, I think, out of like 20 miles from where you are located, basically. Um, yeah, and I guess some people had gotten better at expanding that.
yeah, I don't want to go too much more into it because I'm probably just saying completely wrong stuff. But yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully that helps a little bit. It's Caspian banging on. All right, back to YouTube, it looks like. Do you recommend any method to rank tools like generators? I'm assuming you're talking about like auto-generating links and that kind of thing. And my answer to that is no. We we
I
don't go ahead.
Or is he talking about actual tools
He says
like
like generators.
yeah, generators, like home generators?
Oh, do you recommend any to rank? Oh, okay, yeah, maybe he
I
means
don't
like
know, but at first I was thinking like you, and then I looked at it again. I'm like, oh, so I mean, it maybe base it around a product question, I'm
okay.
guessing.
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and answer it like that then. All right, so starting over. Do you recommend any method to rank tools? So like his keyword, his niche or whatever is tools, like generators. Um, there's I don't have any specific uh, method of really ranking for that kind of thing that would be different from ranking. Wait, he's giving some kind of. We're gonna have to start the question over again. Here, let me put this last.
You were correct.
All right. Do you recommend any method to rank tools like generators, like a schema generator? Um, so when we're talking about like auto-generated stuff, auto-generated anything, it's generally something we completely stay away from. We do everything, or at least I do everything. You can correct me if you're doing anything auto-generated now, Nick, but we do everything completely manually. For example, like Yoast SEO, they always try to give you like suggestions, do this, do that, whatever. Anything that tells us how to do our on page, our schema, anything like that, we say no, and we do it manually.
On this opposite end of that token, we also don't really focus too heavily on schema, if we're being honest. Well, I know I
True.
don't.
That's true. But yeah, basically anything that's auto-generated, whatever, links, anything like that, we stay away from it. Um, it's just you know, shortcuts are cool, but in the case of SEO, the auto-generated stuff, uh, from what I've experimented with, is far behind what someone who actually knows how to do this stuff can do. And once you actually learn the stuff and you have a good grasp of it, which it's really not hard to learn, like stuff like all the on page, all the schema or whatever. Once you learn how to do all that stuff and you have a good grasp on it, and then you incorporate it into your SOP, like your standard operating procedure for how to put up a new page or whatever, it becomes just easy. It's just a part of the process. It's just something that is automatic that either you or a VA can do, and it ends up working out way better than trying to
Yeah.
if SEO was as easy as just like using this auto generated stuff, then we wouldn't really have as much of a job, right? It just the
If
reason
we could be auto-generating a
we
bunch
would.
of stuff and I would absolutely, and trust me, when I first started in SEO, you couldn't get me to write a piece of junk content for the life of me. I would rather spin content or do any kind of garbage hack that I could, possibly have found. But long story short, over time, you'll come to find just learning how to do it properly and getting it done right the first time is the easiest recourse of action versus trying out 100 auto-generating BS tools. Maybe some get some traction for a little while, but nothing I've ever tried really lasted, right? So, like Chris said, it's just easier to automate these processes and do them right. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can save yourself a lot of time by getting it right manually the first time rather than that's kind of funny. I'm being blocked by Nick's chair now. But yeah, getting it right for manually the first time rather than trying to do the auto-generated stuff. You'll eventually understand that it did not do a good job, that you can do a better job, and then you're gonna have to go back and basically clean it all up, which always ends up taking more time than if you were to just get it right the first time and your whatever in your SOP and just moving on to more important stuff. So yeah, hopefully that helps. All right, let's see.
And just as an in-between little bit of commentary here, Chris and I are not afraid to tell you guys and girls out there when we don't do something or we don't really pay attention to something. And it might seem kind of, I don't know what the proper word would be for it, but it might seem a little bit off-putting if you don't know us, but we like to keep our SEO simple, and we like to stick to recipes that we've gathered over the years, and we kind of use that to keep going forward. So when we say we didn't really pay attention to this November update, or schema isn't something we're too terribly bothered by, or any number of things, it just has to do with our recipe for success in SEO. And there are a lot of different ways to skin a cat, proverbial cat in SEO fashion. But we're not going to sit here and fearmonger or tell you need to worry about something if we ourselves don't do it. And we'll be honest about that versus
That's something you can. I think it's important to separate. You have to understand that there are a lot of gurus, and we're
Yeah.
gurus too in a sense. Here we are telling people what to do, so whatever. But there are a lot of gurus, SEO gurus. That's their business, is to be a guru. Our business is to
Yes.
sell backlinks. We
Yeah.
we have a variety of link types. We do this as just like some community goodwill to help out, basically help out people in our group that might be purchasing our products and stuff. And
Plus, over time, this is the most effective way for us to get information out to the people that ask us questions. When we were smaller, we got asked less questions. We spent more one-on-one time with people. Now we get the same questions asked over and over again. So ultimately, this came by design of, well, we're going to keep helping out, not to mention, as we help our community out, it helps grow our business out as well. We're not hiding any of that. It's very out there in the open. But it wasn't necessarily by design that we became, quote, gurus. It was more so by happenstance.
yeah, it's good to understand that, so the gurus, it's their job to essentially keep out a steady stream of what seems like information you really need to know about SEO. So whenever there's something, a new topic that is, the hot topic of the moment or whatever, the new update or whatever, they're going to make it seem like it's the biggest deal and you really got to do this now. These are the big changes. Follow these changes and you'll
Yeah.
be successful in 2022, whatever. All this stuff. You just really got to turn the volume down on that and understand that that's their job, to make it seem like all this stuff is super important. And we could definitely be a little bit more up to date on some of the stuff, especially stuff that, for example, I would like to be more up to date about what's going on in local with the GMBs, even though actually I don't need to be, because it's just not something that affects me and my business at all. But I do like to be just kind of more in the know about that kind of thing. But yeah, we if we say we don't pay attention to something, like Nick was saying, it's because we feel we don't need to. It's because we feel like we're able to accomplish what we need to accomplish. We're able to rank sites well without it. And
I feel like, last algo update that I really paid attention to was December 2020. 2020. And the reason was because it did affect my SEO ecosystem. Like, I'm heavily in more competitive markets, especially with products, where we started seeing a shift towards more authority websites, like, the big ones, Amazon, Walmart, et cetera, kind of creep in there. And so, yeah, our speaking points too are based on, we've got a ton of data based on different clients that come to us at Sir Links a lot. But then also, we run our own campaigns, and that's going to heavily influence kind of where we set our sights from.
all right, let's go ahead and move on. Try to finish up all these questions before we run out of time.
Yeah, we got quite a few.
I'm not really sure. Let me make sure it's not a part of a question. All right, so my website has 60 articles, only 15 of them are indexed. I'm not really sure if that's a question or what you're trying to look at here. Maybe you want to know why the other ones aren't indexed, or if it's a problem. Yeah, so, it's going to depend, like, a 60 page website or whatever is not a very big website, first of all. Um, so the reason I'm saying that is maybe it's taking a little bit longer to index stuff just because your site's not as big. So I'm kind of also assuming maybe you don't have that many links pointing to your website. But in general, once you put articles up, how fast the articles get indexed is going to depend on um, how often your site is getting crawled. And how often your site is getting crawled in very large part depends on how many backlinks are pointing to your site and also the interlinking on your website. Of course your interlinking needs to not be horrible. A bot needs to be able to crawl through, it needs to be able to follow interlinks on your website to get to all of the articles to be able to index them. But, in general, if you've got a smaller site, you don't have that many backlinks, it's 60 page website, and it's gonna take some time for everything to get indexed. The more links you get, things are gonna happen much quicker. Like for example, on our website on sirlinksalot.co, when we put up a new article, I don't even check when it gets indexed, but I'm pretty sure they're indexed. What do you think, Nick? Like within a day?
Yeah, yeah, it's fast. And that's typical with like majority of the websites that we're working on, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you have more? Yeah, go
No,
ahead.
that's pretty much it. Um,
Well, because I,
Go ahead.
I, I was going to say, there's actually probably a few more things, worth kind of questioning or looking into. 60 articles is not a massive website, but it's also not like a micro site, like a local sniper site or anything like
Hmm.
that. But only 15 of them being indexed. There could be a lot of variables that you want to look into. Some things that you could think about are content quality. Maybe you've got a bunch of, articles with 200 words on them that aren't, very specific to anything. Um, 1 second.
Caspian's very active today. I'm not sure. I kind of wasn't paying attention to what Nick was saying, but
So, yeah, so, like the quality of the content, is there keyword cannibalization going on? That can confuse, Google when it comes to indexing different pages on your site. How long have these pages been established? How long has the site been established? Based on what you've given us, we don't really have a lot of info to go off on why this could be happening, but those are some variables worth looking into, when kind of trying to figure that out.
yeah, so hopefully that helps. Let's go to the next one. I bought a .com domain that has authority. I also found that the same domain .net has authority and has 7 indexed pages, although the website is not live for 2 years. Do you suggest buy it in 301? I mean, you could. It's really going to depend on if you think if you think the website is worth whatever the asking price is for it. Um, yeah, I don't really know how much more I can say
I
on that.
mean, you're mainly going to be deciding that not on. Okay, so let's think about some things that would make it worthwhile to pursue that domain and use it as 301. Does it have a strong backlink profile? If you can get it at a bargain, it's got a lot of historical presence in the form of backlinks, history, etc. Then yeah, it might be worthwhile. If it's 7 index pages, but this was part of some network of sites that actually had a lot of traffic recently and were being used, maybe as a brand or something, then yeah, you might want to capitalize on that traffic that knows that brand, or is, gathering traffic based on that brand or URL. But those would be the two main things that I would think you'd be looking at in order to decide. And so, okay, sorry, I missed that part because it was hidden. So it hasn't been live for 2 years.
It's basically like
It's
an
probably not
expired
going to be a
domain.
very, yeah, it's probably, this would be based mainly on, are the backlinks going to be worthwhile to repurpose and use?
Yeah, so it's just you look at it just like you're buying any other domain to 301. You basically just need to look at how many referring domains it has, the quality of those referring domains, and the relevance of them, the power of them, all that stuff. And you're gonna need to make a judgment call at some point if you think whatever the asking price for it is worth, um, the links that it has, and yeah, pretty much just go from there. It's going to really depend on just how you feel about it. If it's got a bunch of good links, it's got some really good links in there, and the price isn't too high, then it could definitely be a worthwhile thing to do. But if they're asking a crazy amount of money and it just doesn't look that great, then probably wouldn't worry about it. Hi, I want to remove 10 useless pages out of 50 that are bringing 50% of traffic to the site. Will the domain lose trust or something in the eyes of Google if I remove them from the site?
I'm just going to go ahead and say that sounds like a bad
Wait, I want
idea.
to remove 10 useless pages out of 50 that are bringing 50% of traffic on the site. Why do
They're
you think
not
they're
they're not
useless?
useless if 50% of your traffic is going to them. Maybe they need to be optimized to send that traffic to different parts of your site, but that would essentially be getting rid of 50% of the traffic going to your site. I guess you could 301 it if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm kind of missing the I feel like I'm missing something here. If you're still in the chat, try to give us some more info on this. But you want to remove 10 useless pages out of 50, but those 10 pages are bringing in half your traffic, so that makes them not useless. But
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, it makes
maybe
them very valuable, actually.
maybe you think they're like not related to your site or something. I'm not really sure. I don't get it. But yeah, I mean, if those 10 pages are bringing in 50% of your traffic, I would not want to remove them. Um, and why why
Yeah,
would
typically
why
if it
would you want to
ain't
remove
broke,
them?
don't fix it. Yeah.
So what?
You might want to like I said earlier, you might want to optimize those pages to make more use of the traffic, like, try and funnel it towards
Exactly.
something. But
It
yeah,
says you
as
can't
far as
monetize them. Okay, so
oh, but
so
then
that's
use them as informative or for interlinking.
yeah, exactly. So 100% do not remove these pages. Leave them up. Absolutely. Like these are your traffic generators. The fact that people are coming and they're clicking on them is great. And so what you said, you cannot monetize them, and that's absolutely fine. So what we were talking about before, which is what all affiliate sites should do. All affiliate sites, you have your big monetized page, your big selling pages, and then you have informational content. Their informational content is not selling in any kind of way. They're just answering a question that's related to, so maybe it's a question
So
about,
depending on the traffic to those pages, I mean, like even running AdSense or banners of some sort, could actually be a way to monetize. It's not going to be extreme money typically, but it is a recourse of action on stuff like that.
yep. And so then, like Nick was saying, you figure out how to get that traffic on that page to your monetized pages, and you're going to do that with interlinking. You're going to do it in a way that makes sense, right? So let's say, for example, we do this on our own website. So let's say we have an article about the benefits of guest posting. This is an informational article. It's not a selling article. So, best when we actually tell them, the benefits of guest posting, and you're not lying, you're telling them actual benefits and stuff. But then every now and then we link to our guest posting service page because, hey, we sell guest posts. And yeah, that's exactly what you do with informational content. You get their attention and you help them. You need to help them. It needs to be good content, or else they're not going to click through to your other stuff. So have good informational content, make sure it's very good and actually helps them, and that will increase the chances that then they say, well, hey, they're actually, they can actually solve my other problem, which is maybe making a purchase in this area. Yeah, absolutely don't get rid of them. Those are your most important pages on your website if they're giving you 50% of your traffic, I would say. You got anything
Yeah,
else, Nick?
sure. Just the only time, so I'll bring in something that's maybe not terribly relevant to this, but an example of where I would even use these pages and not try and monetize them or do much particularly with them other than manipulate Google with them. And I do have some sites that operate this way. Namely, when I've got so let's say I take an age domain and I use it for a 301, or I repurpose it as a money site. But I've got these old, strong inner pages that I repurpose exclusively to get Google crawlers to use them as a sort of sitemap to pertinent pages that I really like. And so this is maybe a bit more advanced, but it still should kind of outline the value there is in pages that are a bit obscure that you might think aren't monetizable. If they affect your website and the way that it operates within the SERPs, then they are incredibly valuable, right? Because all that traffic adds up to some sort of trust, essentially, that then is going to benefit the entire big picture. So yeah, I wouldn't get rid of them at all.
I'll also add that I can't really think of many situations where I would remove pages from my website without. Yeah, I can't really think of situations where I would just straight up remove pages from my website. Even if they were like cannibalizing my other keywords, I would try to fix the cannibalization issue rather
Or
than
301.
removing it. Yeah, or then, for example, maybe it's an old product or it's just whatever. It's for whatever reason we do need to remove it. Instead of actually removing it, I would 301 it to.
301 should be pretty relevant, though, when you're talking about slugs, right? Especially the slugs, or what somebody might be searching, is that can kind of skew what your pages are doing as well. But, you'd want to keep them fairly relevant.
Yeah. So you
If
could
that
just
makes
301
sense.
it to whatever is as closely related as possible to it on your website. But yeah, in general, you've got the content on your site. It's indexed in Google. You spent time on writing whatever it was, or maybe you paid some money to write whatever it was. There's usually something else you can do with it rather than just removing it, rather than throwing it in the trash. And you can get some benefit out of it. I can't really think of many situations when I would just straight up remove content from the site. All right. Setting goals in Google Analytics can help in SEO. No. Nothing you
Yeah, I
do,
don't think so.
nothing you do in analytics is going to help your SEO um, as far as the way they say it works, which you can't really trust Google and everything. But anything you do in analytics is basically to give you information, which maybe that information can help you give you ideas about what you need to do in SEO.
Yeah.
But in general, nothing you do in there is going to have any kind of effect on your SEO directly. It could just give you ideas of stuff you might want to do. Anything on that, Nick?
No. That's good.
All right. Will a malware or virus on your site cause you to drop in the SERPs? It depends what the malware or the virus is doing. Um, I don't
But
really.
yeah, it can.
Yeah, it depends on what it's doing, but if it's doing something nasty, it really could make you drop in the SERPs. Yeah, definitely something you want to keep an eye on. Yeah.
Now, mind you, a lot of times this isn't going to be immediate, right? Like what Google's looking for are sites that are ignored. So, if you've got a hacked site and you're not resolving the issue for too long, then it might drop you out of SERPs, at least temporarily, right? Until you resolve the issue and it sees that you're trustworthy again. So yeah, those are some things to look out for. Google rewards sites, especially in the heavier competition SERPs. Google's going to reward the sites that are, actively giving the user what what they're looking for, and that's not typically virus or a phishing scam or something like that.
Yeah, it really just depends on what it's doing, right?
But if it happens, you resolve it, and then you're worried about it, a couple days later, you're fine. Just, change your passwords and get up to date, and you should be fine to move forward.
Um, Here, he's got some more to add to that. It says the virus was reported on Google AdWords, but not found by any other software. Interesting. I honestly, I've never
Yeah, I
had
don't have
something like
much
that.
experience messing with Google AdWords, to be honest with you. But
I would definitely want to look into it, if Google's saying there's some kind of virus or malware on your site, definitely
but
looking
you
into it.
also have to take into account that Google's automating a lot of this stuff. Maybe it's like there was something that got triggered.
Yeah, it could be an error.
But yeah, try and dig in and get as much info out of them as you can about it. That way it doesn't happen again.
I'm
But
trying to think of how Google AdWords could tell you have a virus.
well, maybe like so it changed.
Like header
It
code or
changed some
something.
of the dialogue or like the header code or something, right? In order to gain something. So it's got to be like typically like when I've noticed hacks go on, it's been on my PBNs, right? Because I'm not paying attention to them. And then every once in a while, you come through and you clean them out. But what kind of stuff are they trying to do? They're trying to fish for passwords, maybe trying to get you to download something maliciously or redirect you to a malicious website. There's some commonalities in some of the most widely used website hacks and what they do with them. It could just be based on some trigger that they've got on one of these more popular types of things. Happy New Year, Sandy.
All right, I think this might be our last question. For ranking local websites, does outreach and guest post links needs to be local websites with niche relevance, or could they be from any other region in the world just niche relevance guest posts? So as a local website, you're gonna want both. You're gonna want local links, and you're also gonna want just niche relevant links. Um, you don't need only local links, and I don't think you want to get just just non-local links. Although, you probably could in a lot of cases. I don't think you. What do you think about that, Nick? It's been a while since I've messed around
It
with
doesn't, I
local.
mean, like ultimately you're going to want a mix of both, but it's going to depend on what kind of looks natural for those SERPs. I do remember back when I was doing local and I was newer to SEO, I spent a lot of time gathering local dropped domains for a very small region in Texas. And I built up a PBN specific for that because I didn't really know what I was doing, but I
Boom,
wanted
local
to
links.
gather. Yeah, and I will say this, they were incredibly powerful. Or even just getting
Was it worth
local
the money?
blog comments. No, not for that, but it just goes to outline that there is value within very specific geographic information. However, there's also very good value in niche relevant content and information, right? So a blend of both, like if I'm out there looking for links, let's say specific for, I'm hunting blog comments for a local niche website, and it's a, let's say it's a trash cleanup service in Baltimore. Well, the blog comments I go after can be specific to Baltimore and nothing to do with trash service, and specific to trash service but nothing to do with Baltimore. And then if you can tie those rooms together and get both, then great. But would I ever abstain from either or? No. You're just trying to collect as much relevant data as you can, pointing back to your specific asset, because that's what's going to, give Google the information that, we're trying to get it to get. So, yeah, don't overthink which one's more valuable. They're both valuable in painting
Yeah, I was
the
just kind of,
overall
I
picture
was
of what
just
your
kind of,
site's about.
sorry, I was just kind of wondering exactly like how much you could get away with like not doing any local links, but it's not a best
Oh,
practice.
I mean, you can though.
Yeah,
You can, right? But like when we say that, I'm kind of ignoring something like citations. If you've got a local website and you haven't gone out and gotten your citations yet, or done some pillowing that is geographic relevant, like directories, that outline your address and stuff like that, then you're doing it wrong, because that's a great way to influence geographic relevance into your asset. However, if we're talking about guest posts or something like that, a mix of both, whichever one you can get that's going to, help influence you. But overall, a local website is going to have local relevance from some of the pillowing that you naturally do. And then, a solid guest post after pillowing geographic relevance is going to, or niche relevant guest post is going to help boost you in the SERPs either way. I feel like what a lot of people need to kind of understand is Google is essentially painting a picture based on the narrative that it has, what it can crawl, and that's going to give it a way to position it in the SERPs, right? So what you're trying to do is just put as much value into that in the form of backlinks, content, etc., that help paint, especially if you're a geographic service website, you're going to want to try and put that much in there. However, then we can even go further and be like, well, how about a link that's not relevant at all? Well, it can still help, and it can still make sense. Like, it's not completely unnatural to get a link on a post that's not relevant at all. Maybe maybe the writer on a blog post is referencing something that has to do with a minute portion of their story, right? Things like that happen all the time. So is that going to add as much value? Probably not, but maybe if it's got way more referring domains to it or something, it can help offset some of that. So, don't ever dismiss any particular type of link as worthless or as like, not as strong as the other one. If you got the opportunity to get both links, get them.
yeah. So short answer, best practice is to you want to get both. You need to get some local links as well. When we have local sites that apply to our managed link building program, we always tell
Dude,
them we are not a local link building service, and that we're not going to go out and get you links, for whatever city you're in. We don't do that. So yeah, I mean, best practice is to get both. I was just kind of saying, you could probably get away without doing it, but it's not best practice, and we don't really advise it. Were you about to say something, Nick? Or are you talking to Caspian?
Caspian stole a can of Altoids and threw them all over the couch.
All right. Looks like we got one more question. This is going to be our last one, and we're going to take off. And it's actually one I'll let you. Is topical trust flow for the domain important? The rating from Majestic. If so, does it really matter if the categories does not fully match your niche? To be completely honest with you, the Majestic scores are not something that I really pay attention to too much at all. For our guest posts, we do have Majestic checks in there. But as far as when I'm doing my own stuff, I just don't really pay attention to the Majestic scores at all. What do you think about it, Nick?
I use them as kind of broad points that I look at whenever I'm hunting domains or sorting through like a lot of data. But outside of that, no, I agree with Chris. It's only as important as it is to the task at hand, right? So for me, it's important when I'm going through tons of different domains, like a list of domains, and I'm trying to do a broad sort before I deep dive into it. But as far as, considering it in aspects to how Google is reading my site, I mean, it's a interesting kind of indicator, but it's not going to be as accurate. So I don't give it that much weight.
Yeah, what I'd rather do is I like to just look at it myself, look at the site, what's the site about, what kind of content are they putting out, look at their backlinks real quick, what kind of backlinks, what are their backlinks relevant for, um, and it doesn't, we like we were just talking about in the previous question, it doesn't have to fully match your niche. For example, let's say you have your website is about I don't know, you sell semiconductors, and so you're getting a link from a website that is about just something broadly related to tech. Like maybe it's about I don't even know. Um yeah, tech trends or something. I don't know. It can be something much more unrelated than I think a lot of people really understand. They think, well, I'm doing my article that I want to rank is about a specific kind of semiconductor, so I need something very relevant. And it needs to be exactly about the same kind of semiconductor or the same kind of metal or whatever. They just want the relevance to be super super close. And if you can get that kind of relevance, that's awesome. But you also have to realize that it's completely natural. It occurs all the time for websites to get links that are not exactly super duper relevant. They'll have a more general relevance. And even then, for example, a semiconductor, um, uh, you know, website or article, whatever, you could even get, links from something like video games, which would be like entertainment. So you can you have to think about what's natural in the real world for website to link to another. If it's about like dogs or something, and you're trying to rank your semiconductor site, then maybe that's not so good of a fit unless it's a dog website, but it's about an article related to some kind of dog
I
technology. I
mean,
don't
you
know, in their
can
in their
you can
collars
always
or
spin
something.
it. You can always
Well,
spin
that's what
it.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
So like, even then, even
yeah.
then,
It's
if the article is about something, related, then hey. And but it might, it might not be the exact relevance you're looking for. And I'm not saying to completely ignore trying to get this very laser targeted relevance. But in general, I think a lot of people have kind of a little bit of a flawed understanding of relevance and how relevant uh, the websites need to be
but
that are linking to them.
let's change it up and let's say that you're not looking at it from a monitoring backlinks perspective, but actually wondering, whether your website is reading properly or optimized for a specific topic, right? And yeah, again, not something that I would particularly really look at. What I think I'd be more interested in is a tool that we actually use, that helps pick up on density values on specific keywords, et cetera, which would be Surfer SEO. And, if you've got a good way of building the foundation of your site as far as content goes, which, I think both Chris and I automate all new websites using Surfer, then you're going to know that your topical trust flow is on point, or topical, whatever you want to call it, but a variable based on what your website's about and whether it's optimized from the perspective of a search engine crawler.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps. Um, I guess we'll end with this one. Sandy says, Happy New Year's,
Happy New
guys.
Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to everyone. Yeah, thanks for coming out,
That
everyone
was
who's watching.
I was blowing a whistle, not it's I was like, no, yeah, it's fine.
Not awkward at all. All right, so
Yeah.
yeah, Happy New Year's, everyone. Thanks for everyone coming out to our first show of the year. Definitely did not expect this big of a turnout. Was expecting to kind of do a bunch of our
I
backlog,
thought it was gonna be
but
slow. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a slow, lazy day, and no, this is nice. This is a bang, bringing the bang for the new year.
yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Um, one thing we didn't talk about before was actually our 1 year anniversary for live SEO
Oh yeah.
support. Um, was a couple weeks ago, I think, in December. So we've been doing this for a little over a year now, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool. And it's really
Yeah.
funny to go look at some of the old videos of just we look very
Dude,
different. I had a beard.
we thought
Um,
our studio was really slick. We'd ordered all that padding, Sir
yeah.
Links-a-Lot light up sign.
Yeah, we were doing the shows. We were because right now we're not in the same room. We're not in the same place.
Yeah.
Whereas before we were always doing them from the studio. Uh, just everything was a lot less professional. We didn't have the background and all the cool bells and whistles or whatever. Not that our stream is like super advanced or whatever, but
Oh,
anyway,
it's advanced, all right.
it's
It's
definitely
advanced.
funny to go look at the old stuff.
Yeah.
Sandy, we used to do the SEO podcast, which actually we haven't done in a while, but we're hoping to get back into it this year. We've just been kind of busy with a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, we used to do one every week or two we just did like a short burst of it really, and then we kind of
Yeah.
just got caught up doing a bunch of other stuff.
I think
Um,
once COVID hit, everything just kind of like got sideways. Or no, that would have been for, well, when was the last time we did one?
oh, I think you're
Dude, it's
right
been a long
actually.
time. Yeah, because then everything got derailed and we just never really started it back
Yeah,
up.
no, you're totally right.
So
Because
it's been a long time.
we had I can't remember who the guests
Eric.
were, but the
Eric was the
one of
last
the
one.
guests or we couldn't be in the studio together or something. There was all this stuff going on with COVID, and we're like, sorry, we got to
Yeah.
cancel, and
Hmm.
we just started doing other stuff and just kind of put it on the super back burner and never got back into it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's crazy. Yeah, it's just been
Yeah,
so
it's been a long
long.
time. Hmm.
But yeah, we should definitely get back into that. But I kind of want to do it a little bit, maybe a little bit different. And anyway, it's something we can discuss. But hopefully, we'll get back into it
Yeah.
sometime this year. But yeah, thanks for showing up, guys. Happy New Year. Hopefully,
Happy New Year.
we answered your questions, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Wednesday, 12 Central Time. You can watch us in our Facebook group, the SEO Roundtable, which is actually the preferred place to be. Even though actually we get more like questions on YouTube, you should still be in our Facebook group, SEO Roundtable, just because you can ask questions
We're
in
there every
there every
day.
day,
Yeah.
and you can get help from our group members as well as all that good stuff. Um, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe. That's the first time we said it. We're off to obviously
Yeah.
that should be
Yeah.
our New Year's resolution to say like, comment, and subscribe more.
Yeah, all the time. Maybe get a shirt.
Anyways, thanks guys, and we'll see you next time.